both coffee roasters here on Valencia Street. So my very first coffee job, it was in the year 2000. I had just graduated from college and I was trying to decide what to do with my life. I had a degree in religious studies, but I was also pre-med. So I was either going to be a professor of religious studies or I was going to go to medical school, become a doctor. And I took a job working in a coffee shop, managing a coffee shop, while I figured it out. I figured that would be a really good job that would be kind of like mindless, and I could focus on what I really wanted to do. And in that job, that was back in Washington, D.C., and the owner of the coffee shop sent me to San Francisco, actually, for the big coffee conference of the year. And it was at that conference that somebody pulled me a shot of espresso that tasted good. And I was so confused because to me at that point, like, I mean, I drank coffee, but I usually drank iced lattes with syrup. Can't believe I'm admitting this. And, you know, straight espresso to me was bitter, too intense, wasn't a pleasant experience. And what this guy made for me looked different, tasted different, it smelled different, and I was just like totally mesmerized. And I stood there for hours watching how he was doing everything and asking him questions. There are two reasons it's really important to have a direct relationship with producers. One is quality. It's the way that we get the best tasting coffee. And that is because, you know, because we're able to meet the coffee farmers and know that they kind of have the same attitude about coffee that we do. That it's something that can be improved all the time. We're never just done. And we're like, oh, that's the perfect cup of coffee, let's just stop. You know, it's always like, okay, now what can we do to make it even better? Part of it is knowing that then they're being compensated fairly for that, because it takes a lot more effort and more money to produce coffee that tastes good.
Yeah.
And so it's important to me to know that they're making more money so that this is something that they'll want to continue doing. So Steve Horde is our coffee buyer, and he has the job that everybody covets, but they don't know what it's really like. So we buy nearly 100% of our coffee is direct trade. So we have relationships directly with our coffee farmers. And Steve is the one who's responsible for finding those farmers and for maintaining the relationships with them once we've found them. And so he's the one who has to explain, you know, that we'll pay more for quality, but that if it's not good, that we're not going to be able to pay much for it, you know, or we're not going to want to buy it. So he spends 3 to 4 months of the year out of the country. He travels a lot. We decided to get our organic certification more because, well, let me take a step back and say how anytime we're buying a coffee, it's because of the way it tastes. There are coffees out there with amazing stories, you know. Yeah, I mean, some of them have incredible stories, but that's not whatever sells us on a coffee. What sells us on a coffee is how it tastes. And so anytime we're looking to buy a coffee, we do a tasting and it's blind. We don't know what coffee we're tasting, we don't know what country it's from maybe, we don't know who grew it, so we can't be influenced by a great story. And so once the coffee kind of passes our test, then we're going to talk to the farmer and make sure that the farmer is somebody who understands this kind of approach to making the coffee taste better. Because once we work with somebody, we want to work with them year after year after year. And some of the farms that we've been working with, this is our 6th year of buying from them, which my business is only 8 years old, so a long time for us. And we don't see that ending anytime soon. And so we've never prioritized organic in our buying. Again, that's always just been something that was blind, just like everything else about the coffee. But there were coffees that we decided to buy that happened to be organic. And a few of them we've been buying for 2 or 3 years now. And without having the certification, we couldn't really tell the whole story of the coffee. And that's really important to us, to be able to say, you know, to put the name of who grew the coffee on it, talk about what they're doing on their farm, that made a coffee that was so outstanding and stood out to us. And so really the decision to get the organic certification was to be able to present sort of the full picture of the coffee. And so we may, there will be times of the year where we probably won't have any organic coffee on our menu, and times of the year where we have a few. What people know about coffee and the quality of coffee that people expect in San Francisco has changed so much over the last 8 years, and I'm proud to have been a part of that. And community happens here all the time, people just meeting and collaborating on projects, and that's really exciting to see.